Rana, Rana, Ranu, Rena, नजरिया लागे नहीं कहीं.
Well, now that that is over, let's talk about JBL, because they are the largest speaker manufacturer in the world. And they don't sell speakers to you or I, usually. In fact, most times they look like that. And that is an ugly as sin Studio 100. Asymmetrical, both speakers exactly the same. Just a goddamn pig. I don't even know how it sounds. I couldn't live with the looks anyway, so why even judge? Now, so this is what JBL sells. Those are their Pro line. Those are what go in movie theaters behind screens. I'm sure George Lucas probably has a couple of those things lying around in his closet. And it's those precisely that these are based off of. You see, when you're the largest speaker manufacturer in the world, you don't have to worry, well, about anything. And when you decide you want to make a good speaker, you get to throw millions of dollars into research and development, usually. And they didn't have to, because there they are. See them right there? Here are them. Here are they. And as the very graphic demonstration at the beginning of this video showed you, I had to buy these. And the truth of the matter is I didn't have to buy them. The truth of the matter is someone bought these, had them sent to me, and said, here, review them, and then ship them back to me. And I went, sure. And I got the box, unpacked them, put them up on my Doom stacks over here, wired them up, sat down, and went, these don't sound very good. How am I going to tell the public that $600 speakers that look this good are crap? And it took me a while to figure it out. I'm like, what's wrong? What's wrong? So I check, and sure enough, my headphone crossfeed was enabled. This was back when I was doing the X2s, and I was using that. And okay, I shut that off, and it still didn't sound right. So eventually I put it in mono and tried to find where the sweet spot was. I'm like, oh my god, there's definitely a phase problem. They must be wired improperly out of the factory, because I'm Zeos Pantera, and I make no mistakes. Well, that isn't true. Turns out I had wired one of these bad boys backwards. So, for the first 26 minutes of having them playing music, they were horrific and terrible and useless. And then I swapped the wires around and plugged it in and then hit play again. And then my wallet just shot the fuck out of my pocket and hit the screen. It was like, with a thud. Because these are the best speakers I've ever heard. End of statement. Now, the first thing you're going to notice is that. And this entire area here is the waveguide horn-loaded tweeter. And that's very interesting. It really is. It's probably what makes these speakers so good. However, here, the little baby 5 1/4, the same as on a Shane, or a Wavecrest, or a TIAC, is the same exact dimension woofer. Now, something you notice is that it's very, very, very recessed. It's way back there. And it took a second for me to realize that, hey, these are a horn-loaded 5 1/4. So, horn-loaded tweeter, this little bit of curvature here, all this, I was like insistent to leave the normal grill on because it comes with either the normal grill or this little semi-grill just to cover the bits with the holes in it. And when I realized that this is a waveguide / horn-loaded 5 1/4, my erection was uncontainable. This doesn't sound like a 5 1/4. this sounds like, well, I'm not gonna say 8. That'll be a lie, but it definitely sounds like a 6.5. And look at the volume of this speaker, the physical sheer size of it. Port in the back, which is, we'll get to that. We'll get to some issues with this bitch. We'll get to some issues. You get separated top and bottom posts if you want to power the tweeter separately from the base. Remove these bridges. I don't see a real reason to do that. You have to be a lunatic. Build quality. Let's start with that, or continue on that. Let me stand up. Let me get angry. Walk around with you like a baby. Hello, baby. You got scuff marks. Well, it's solid. This is a solid 16, 17 pound speaker. I'm guessing, by the way. And everything looks good. It's got the fake vinyl wood. All the edges are nice and clean. The only thing that isn't finished is the bottom. Looks like they didn't do it. And that's fine with me. That harkens back to their heritage of pro speakers, and who gives a shit how it looks, it just has to perform. And that's what these speakers do. That's the word. If I had to pick the word, every other speaker on earth plays. This speaker performs. Now, this is a very hard review for me to do. I mean, I was much more comfortable just doing a rape scene to describe it than this. It sounds different and better than every other speaker. I had it being against the $1,200 PSAs with the 10-inch driver. And the PSAs got louder. The PSAs had clearer highs above a certain level. And just more presence in the... Well, no, that's the line right there, is the presence. Whatever these do, and frankly, I don't think science could explain it to me with my feeble little brain, I was willing to pay $600 plus tax to have. And I don't need any more fucking speakers. They're my Emotivas. Look at them. They're just sitting there, holding up my monitor. I don't need more speakers. I've got TX. I've got these things. I've got Wavecrests are still hanging around. I've got everything. I could have bought the Shanes twice. Right? The guy, I could have just said, I want to keep the Shane. I could have bought any speaker, and I didn't. I bought this speaker. Because what it does is unfathomable. If I owned a really high-end restaurant, I would buy 5 or... Well, I can't buy 5, but I'd buy 6 of these and place them around the restaurant and have them just serenade people. Because it is an unbelievable sound. Now I have to try to describe it with words through a camera. So, bear with me. These don't... You can't tell you've got a speaker playing. Every time you put a speaker on any stand, you listen to it, you go, these speakers sound alright. You put these on there, and the speakers are irrelevant. You say the music sounds great. They just... If you didn't know what was happening, you didn't concern yourself with this, well, this song sounds fantastic. They're the best speakers, period. I brought these back to New York with me because there's a guy there that has the guy has the Martin Logan XT60s, the $3,000 Martin Logan towers with the dual 8s. And he's been having issues with those. The highs are really piercing and he doesn't like them. Or his father doesn't like them. They both agree that they have a beautiful room and setup and they got all this Macintosh equipment and they have the goddamn equalizer like turned down because the highs on the Martin Logans were murdering them. So I said, alright, pop these back in their box, drove them up to New York, brought the goddamn $40 Santa stands, unplugged his Martin Logans, plugged these bookshelf speakers in on $40 Santa stands in front of $3,000 Martin Logan towers, and in 40 minutes he ordered the $2,000 tower versions of these. They just stopped dead in their tracks. All their audio problems disappeared. Everything they've ever complained about was gone because they heard a pair of these. And these are the small ones. These are the babies. At $600 a pair, that may sound like a lot. It's not. Not for what these can do. Holy shit. If JBL called me up right now, if my phone just rang, and it was like, JBL service, we undercharge you. You need to give us another $200. I'd have to think for a second and then just start punching in my code. All right, whatever I need to do to keep these. They're that good. And here's the thing about this particular type of speaker. It's the same as owning an old 60s Ferrari. You're going to get that beautiful, poetic moment every once in a while. Only when you take absolutely meticulous care. These are not speakers you just throw up and everything's fine. No. We're going to go over that right now. These are babysitter speakers. These are speakers that you need to be absolutely concerned with a bunch of things. Number one, they're 6 ohm and 85 dB sensitivity, which means they need ungodly amounts of power to run correctly, right? These are not efficient. Secondly, they can't get loud. I mean, not real loud. They get loud, but not to like even near where the PSAs were. Even with that massive tweeter up top in that horn, and with this horn here deflecting this, they get loud, but they have a limit. And you're going to find that limit, because as you keep pushing, because you got to push hard, because you got to get the power up, and as you keep pushing, all of a sudden, these two things, this just sort of stops making more volume. This hits its limit and fades away, and all of a sudden the tweeter's just screaming at you, and you go, oh, I got to back down. I've hit that limit several times. So there is an absolute maximum and a substantial amount of power needed, so there's only a very short gap of what needs to be happening to make these speakers happy. Then we got to talk about angularity. Here they are up on my stands, and you'll note there's a piece of flooring under it, because these are time-aligned drivers. Do I have this actually on there? Yes, I do. That means that the voice coil of the woofer is exactly the same distance back as the voice coil of the tweeter. And that means where you normally want to sit at tweeter ear level, ear level with the tweeter, no, not here. You want to be right dead center between the two drivers. And because of the way it works and because of the way everything's shaped, that has to be pointing at your head. And since my speaker stands are oddly high, I have to tilt them down. They have to be tilted down. Okay, so basically you got to pretend there's a laser sight right here and you got to point them at your ears. Fine. Now we got to talk about this sort of angle. At you is no good. If you can see it, it could see you and you die. So what you do is you keep turning and you keep turning and keep turning until they're pretty much... This speaker needs to concern itself with everything to your right and the other speaker everything to your left. You never want them pointing even close to on axis. Completely off axis, almost flat. Almost, I have them on the desk here, almost flat, slightly kinked in. The port chuffs like a motherfucker. So when you hit that really bassy stuff, and these speakers produce low end, better than every other speaker with the exception of the JBL 305s, the powered monitors. I think those are slightly bassier, but this might be a cleaner bass. I'm not going to have that argument now. Comes with a port filter like that that's supposed to cut down the lows below 50 hertz around that. And I tried it, and this makes the noise even worse, and it makes it sound like it just loses what the magic that is these speakers. So we've got port noise, we've got very specific angles, you've got power requirements. They're still the best speakers ever made. Ever made that I've ever heard. And I've heard everything from Italian RCFs to all the things that go to the audio show. I have not heard a speaker that was this different and better than every other speaker. Just haven't heard it. Just haven't heard it. Granted, you walk in room to room, the sources change, but I don't care. I will put my everything on the line and say that to you right now. When is JBL coming to the Rocky Mountain Audio Fest and just setting up a pair of these and leaving the room? Just leave them unattended and see what happens. They need power. They'll blow your stuff up. You can't go too fast. They're way better for music than they are for movies. I was crying like a little girl when I sent those PSAs back. I couldn't afford to keep them for two reasons. If you buy the MT110s and you want to really keep that system whole, you need to buy the sub, and I don't have the cash for that because I blew the money on these. I blew it. Would have been better off spending it on Coke? No, I doubt it. So, movies, PSAs, all the way. If I had a dedicated theater, I wouldn't even think. But music is what I do 90% of in this room. Yeah, I have the giant screen. But it only comes down at night. It only comes down when there's something to watch. For music, I have found no equal. Don't ask me in the comments of this video or any other video after you've seen this, well, what's better, the JBL or the... Doesn't matter what this is. The JBL is better. It's better at it. It's... Unless you want sharp, piercing highs that are super finite and accurate, then the Martin Logans were the only thing that'll best these in some category. Because this tweeter here sort of removes the really high highs, the ones that are annoying, and it just gives you the happy highs that everyone loves. That's the only downtrodden thing about the sound signature of these speakers. The low end on them is berserk. Almost don't need a sub. Almost. These, atop my Martin Logans, over there and there, would put against any speaker you guys got. Now, obviously, volume is the limitations of this little bastard trying to freak out. And this thing moves. I don't know what the driver here costs. If this blew up, I'm sure it's not cheap. It's not a $50 driver. This is probably like a $200 driver. And it's ugly as sin. I wasn't going to use them with the covers off. I was just going to leave these on because this looks so much better. Oh, it looks so much better. But you know what? You got to see this thing move. So, she'll play low end. You push it too hard, she chuffs. Although the chuffing has settled down now that it's been a couple weeks, months. Has it been a couple months? It's been a while. It's been a goddamn while. And, yeah, no. Yeah, no. I have no other words to describe how good these speakers are. Oh, I guess I have a couple more words. These are not only the best speakers I've heard for music in a room. In a room. These are the best speakers I've ever heard near field on a desk. So, if you are part of the PC Master race, and I hope most of you are, feel free to blow $600 and $200 on your next desk setup 2.0 because they sound better here, right here on this desk, than they do up there. Up there they sound better than any other speaker I've ever heard. And over here, they sound better than any other speaker I've ever heard. Just closer to your head. There's a weird thing, and I may do it when I do the sound demo, that if you're sitting way back here in the back of the room and it's loud, it's kicking ass, and you get up and you walk towards this speaker, it never gets any louder. It's doing some magic shit with the sound that you get closer and closer and you're expecting it to be blisteringly loud, like when you're at a club and you're near those speakers and they're just so loud. It sounds exactly the same volume, which is good and bad because that means you need a ton of power to get it to work in a room and you need a ton of power to get it to work here. I did a Planetside recording on my other channel with these speakers and my Tascam mic, just fucking around in Planetside. And fuck is the right word. Just everything went well. Everything goes well. The whole desk here. Now this is not a good desk. Granted, it's a folding table. But I've never had speakers on it. I've had all my speakers on it. And I've never had a pair of speakers on it that would make my hand numb. My mouse... mousing here and my hand would go numb from the vibrations that these are putting out. The force and the anger of the low end out of these things is berserk. They're just berserk. If these don't sell out on Amazon, I'm going to be upset. Because everyone, oh, what do you use? What do you use? What do you use? What is your choice? What is your pick, Zeos? These. These and nothing else. Until I hear something absurdly high-end. It's not even a matter of it being expensive. It's a matter of being different and better. That's my whole life. It's got to be different and better. This is certainly different than everyone else's. Is it better? I think so. This speaker's, the way it's built with the waveguide for the tweeter and the mid-range, is different than every other speaker. Every other speaker. And it sounds better than every other speaker. I'm not interested in some speaker that has a slightly better tweeter with better dispersion and then a standard driver. Unless it's whacked out, crazy time. Has to be, you have to pour gasoline and whiskey into it at the same time to get it to make sound. It's probably not beating these JBLs. Come with me, baby. Oh God, I almost lost it. One of the good parts about this is that your little kids will not smash the tweeter because they literally can't touch it. It's way back there. There's actually a tube I could see through that fine mesh. Now, I was upset because I had to unplug these for this review. Make sure everything's straight. Like my dramatic lighting, they deserve it. They deserve all the dramatic lighting you could muster. I don't know what else to tell you. I think I've told you everything. They're expensive, they're heavy, the bottom's unfinished, it scratched up my mouse pad. These are the smallest. They come with a tower with dual 5 1/4s that doubles the price to over $1,100 for the pair. Then they go to dual 6 1/2s for, how much does that cost? $1,800 a pair? No. Yeah, like $1,700 a pair. And then the dual 8s is the big ones that are like a foot wide, or 14, 16, it's retarded wide, giant retardo towers. Those are $2,000 for the pair. And you know what? I'd buy these and a subwoofer, or I'd buy the double 5 1/4s and a subwoofer and get over with. I wouldn't get anything bigger than the 5 1/4. I think it would mess up the magic that is the mid-range these produce. Yeah, I mean that's I can't. I'm exhausted from this review. I'm hoping. Actually, you all now are required to go watch the sound demo because I'm sure I'm forgetting something, and I will complete that thought while I'm demoing these, and I'm going to demo them on the table here shortly. And since I've gotten them, I've gathered a playlist of things that sound absolutely magnificent on them, and it's usually most things, so I've had to crop it down quite a bit. JBL Studio 530s, the best speakers I've ever heard.